Yeah, gold about to get exciting. Finally, finally playable cards. Baral and Karizev. 2/4, blue, red, and 1. First Strike Menace. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a spell with lesser mana value than that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't create First Mate, Ragavan, a legendary 2/1 red monkey pirate creature token. Incest. It works with the spells. What are they called? The suspense spells? Cast Treasure Cruise, cast Epiphany. Dang. It's good with Treasure Cruise, I guess. It works with like Ancestral Vision? It does. So what else it cost? What does Hypergenesis do already? I guess that card spans. Cast Rhinos and Ancestral Vision. And it's a free mana card. So it doesn't stop you from playing the Cascade cards. But it does stop you from playing 1 mana cards. It lets you kind of pop off. You play that, you play a Cascade card, you cascade into one, play one from your hand. This was bad cards. Yeah. What about in like a beatdown deck, a blue-red prowess deck or whatever? Treasure Cruise is legal in Pioneer. What about in a Phoenix deck? Would that be like, would you just add that card to your Phoenix deck? Not really, right? It's like kind of whatever. Probe into Ancestral Vision, yeah. All right, let's move on. Borborygmos and Fibblethip. And I guess potentially Ancestral Vision, right? Blue-red was Ancestral Vision. Ancestral Vision is not Pioneer, it's Modern. I mean, you already have like Shardless Agent and Bloodbraid Elf, but that one doesn't restrict your way you build your deck, I guess. Doesn't restrict the way you build your deck. It does like trivial mana here and there. It doesn't die to Lightning Bolt. It doesn't die to Unholy right away. It does die to Fury. The Fairy Scoffler, yeah, true. Alright. Borborygmos Morse and Fibblethip. 5 mana, Teamer, 6/5. Whenever it enters a battlefield or attacks, draw a card, then you may discard any number of land cards. When you discard one or more cards this way, it deals twice that much damage to target creature. So it's kind of a flame tongue. You draw cards. So it's card advantage for a 6/5. And then you may, and if you do, you turn your extra lands into removal. Tempo, card advantage, board advantage. Blue and 1, put it on top of its owner, third from the top, and it saves itself. Who would play that in standard? Is there a teamer deck in standard? I mean, there's 5 color decks, I guess. It doesn't let you discard a Traxel, which is kind of a shame. Goes with Slogurk. I mean, it seems like a fine card, honestly. Just Good 5-drop. Teamer, not the most popular colors right now. Teamer Legends, yeah, who knows? Who knows which color combo of Legends ends up being the best? Seems like it's probably still gonna be Esper, but from what I've seen. But I mean, it's just a good card. What about in Pioneer or Modern? Does anyone really want that? Probably still good enough for Pioneer. In Fire's decks? Is it good in Fire's decks? Is it good enough for Fire's deck? Draw, discard, kill stuff. You get to protect it, kind of. I mean, it does add up, right? If you're playing a grindy matchup and every time they try to kill it, you know you're going to draw something insane first from the top. It's kind of how do you get out of this mess, you know? I mean, I guess you could ignore it. Oh my god, how am I gonna spell that? Borborygmos, dude. Quickly in chat, type Borborygmos and Fibblethip as fast as you can without making a mistake. Let's see who gets it first. Who can type it first without messing up? Did DQ Bird get it? Borborygmos and Fibble. Yeah, I think you got it. I think DQ Bird got it. Easy. All right. Look at me. I'm so smart now. I can go to chat and copy paste the genius. Got him. Outsourced the work.
The genius of Gabriel Nassif.
All right, Botanical Brawler. 0/0 for 2 mana. Doesn't sound like a great deal so far. Trample, not a legend. Botanical Brawler enters battlefield, so it's a 2/2 for 2 trample. Whenever one or more counters are put on another permanent you control, if it's the first time I've been put on a permanent this turn, put a +1. So it grows when your other card grows. So it just triggers of you casting a 1/1, like a 1/1 token creature. I mean, there was a white-green deck that was like, I mean, it was not good, but in standard, but maybe it was a few extra pieces. Plus, it can get multiple counters a turn. It just can't be from the same permanent. Imagine going to a botanical garden and you have to face up a centaur. Yeah, trample's really nice. What? What is? Oh, dude, that's. I'm way too much of a boomer to use fancy extensions. Very helpful add-on. The duelist and this work well together. Well, they're both 2-drops, but turn to. Do they? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you probably still have a mopey creatures. I mean, at the end of the day, they cut it down. They go for the throat and you didn't gain any value because it doesn't have a die trigger. It's missing a die trigger or something to probably be good. But I don't know, maybe it's powerful enough. Are we just gonna add every card? Botanical Brawler. Does Harden skill in Pioneer want that card, or does it have better 2-drops? Jeru and Hazoret. 5 mana, 5/4. As long as you control one or fewer cards in hand, it has Vigilance and Haste. When it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may exile a legendary creature card from among them. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order until you make has. Wow. I mean, that card would be. I mean, that card's obscene in Legends, obviously. Just top of the curve. You can't play too many other expensive cards. You need to empty your hands. You need to play a really low curve. You can just cast it without paying its mana cost. Cast attracts that for free. This, yeah, I mean, the casting cost is a little rough. I tried building around this, but play patterns means it's very hard to play on 5. Yeah, you almost need to not have 4 drops in your deck, or 5 drops, really. Maybe you just play no 4 drops, and you only play Jeru as your 5+ card, like literally the only card in your deck that costs 4 or more is Jeru. And you can play a white-red burn deck with some legends, not just an all-legend deck. You have enough good legends. This white-red burn.
Coming in at 5 mana weighing 6/5, meet your reigning heavyweight world champion Borborygmos and FBL THP.
Wow, Lady Rola just dodged that one. Lena, hope you're doing great. Thanks for the 46 months. Thanks for the fun messages always. You're great. I love how they embellish in that many cards this can cast. Yeah, you play 4 Jeru, no other expensive cards except for 1 Atraxa. I mean, this card, it definitely can be obscene, but does the deck can you build a deck that makes sense? Drana and then Vala. 4 mana, free for flying vigilance. Activate abilities. I was thinking, can you set up Emrakul like Jeru, Hazoret, and Emrakul? Because you cast it, you get the extra turn. Is Emrakul Pioneer legal, or is it just Modern legal? Goryu Fruit of Breach. As long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, it has Vigilance and Haste whenever it attacks. Could it be good in like Goryu's Fruit of Breach? Goryu's Jeru? I guess might as well put directly. I mean, I guess it could be alternate win con, right? You can Goryu's it and you can just cast it. And it's good with Fable. It's good with like draw discard effects, or like because it reduces your cards in hand and smooths out your draws. Like, you know, if people attack your graveyard, it can be a sideboard option. It can be like a better Fruit of Breach. It's really good against discard decks. It's like kind of insane against discard decks. You just rip it. You have no cards in hand because it made you discard all your cards. I'm gonna add it to the modern list, just maybe. You can just play the Boar or Narset. What's the Boar or Narset? I mean, this one finds it. This one is like a 1 card engine. All you have to do is like, oh, I ripped it. I got lucky. I win. Best card for now? Probably, potentially the White Invasion is just the best card in the set. And it's gonna be like busted in every format, but maybe not quite that good. Um, Most likely to just see play because it's just solid. I don't know. What do you think, chat? Who wins the most overall solid I mean, I guess something like Volcanic Spite's gonna see play, but in one deck. Because it's just strictly better Fire Prophecy. What would be my pick for most consistent maybe Rona? Rona seems like an easy include in Esper Legends. With White Invasion, the 2-mana one that PVs people and then flips. Surge. Which one's Surge already? Well, Surge is a sideboard card, that doesn't count. Rona is super solid by one deck. Well, it's good in Esper Legends. Looter is just good overall. It's a combo with Retraction, Helix, and Mox Amber. It's infinite mana. So far, I would say Rona kind of just looks solid, and then White Battle could be just obscene. All right. Drawn on Linval activated. Creature can be activated. Drawn on Linval has all activated. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Does this do anything in standard? I mean, Linvala was good at some point, and there's like a lot of the combo decks, the devoted druid combo decks and stuff. Linvala's a tiny bit of play. Does it do anything in standard? Turns up Reflection of QC. Okay. Turns up the Blood Harvester. It just does die to go for the throat. I don't know if cards like that are playable in standard right now. There's just no way, right? Just way too low impact. Just, yeah. This is just like a sideboard card for against elves decks or combo decks and stuff. New Predators all seem pretty bad. Yeah, just what does it do, Gap? Alright, Elvish Badkeeper, black green one. When it enters the battlefield, incubate 2. Five transform target incubator token you control double the number. Card seems bad, right? Alright, then Gyada. 2 free flying flash for blue white one. You may click the top card of your library anytime. You may cast spells with flash or flying from the top of your library. So it's Center Courser for flash cards and flying cards. Except it doesn't gain life, but it has flash, it has flying, it has one less toughness. It dies to cut down, which is kind of a beating. It is kind of a scary card. Just flash, card advantage. Good thing it's not a spirit, I guess. Bant Angels. At least it doesn't cast Collected Company. Alright, then got a good in Angels and Pioneer. Well, you have to be able to cast it. I mean, you already have Realm Keeper, right? Whatever that card is. That's just a better card. Just easier to cast, doesn't make you splash a color. Linvala is an angel though, right? If you want to splash, you at least get Linvala, but there's already so many good angels. The other 3-mana angels are way more important to your game plan. Around could go into spirits. Yeah, it's not a spirit, but it could go into spirits. That card's pretty scary, honestly. Because spirits doesn't have a great way to punish you. If they say go, you say go. It's like, I mean, that's Sailor, but that's later in the game. I mean, I guess that card just dies to removal, though. It doesn't die to Fatal Push. I don't know. Aritai has Flash for Phoenix Flying. Yeah, what about just Inets for Legends? Just cause would you play that? Would you ever play that card? The free drops are so good, though. That's a spot where you have trouble fitting all the free drops in. You don't really use the Flash Inets for Legends. You don't play a ton of Flash cards. A lot of curators don't have flying. I mean, that card just seems like it doesn't have a home really, and it dies to cut down. You find too many options can lead to mistakes in deck building. I mean, right? Just goes hand in hand. The more options you have, the easier it's to mess up. It's just math. Alright, I don't know. I don't see that card having a home, even though it looks cool and scary. There is a flash deck, like an Esper flash deck in Pioneer. I've played against that like a couple times randomly on the in leagues. I think I lost to them. It was the one that draws you cards. They had the Wandering Emperor. That was pretty annoying to play against. All right, let's move on. I'm not gonna put that card on my list. No one said really anything super convincing. Yeah, Slitter Wisp. Maybe in a Slitter Wisp deck, but Galta and Navran. 7 mana, 12/12 trample. Whenever you attack, choose one. Create a tapped and attacking XX green dinosaur token for its trample or X's greatest power among other attacking creatures. Create X1/1. Okay, I mean, you're not gonna attack with that creature, and not, I mean, that card's just unplayable, right? Just go for the throat next. No, yeah, I got that's just unreal bad. Glissa, Herald of Predation. 5 mana, free 5. In the beginning of combat on your turn, choose one. Incubate 2 twice. You get 2, potentially 2/2s. Transform all incubators tokens you control. Exchange creature against first right Death Touch. I mean, that card seems bad? Question mark? Maybe Abzan Incubator. I mean, some of the incubation cards were good. Like the 1/2 1-drop Inquisitor, like 1/2 1-drop into Inquisitor is kind of okay. Progenitor, Exarch, and the Sun or the Gateway is like an interesting spell. Can kill Bangbuster and stuff. And the Butcher is okay too, but Yatra and Maven is Vampire. Oh, so you put it into play on turn 3? I mean, I don't know, man. Still dice said go for it, Freud. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, card's a little expensive. Let's move on. Hello Forager. Oh, that card's good, right? It's the Snapcaster slash red one. Blue black one, free mana, free one, flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, you may cast target instance or sorcery card with mana with the X or S from graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put in graveyard, it's telling so. Can you pay 0? Can you pay 0 to play Ancestral? You have to pay 1 at least. When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value X from a graveyard. Yeah. I mean, that card might even be good to recast Living End in grindy matchups. I guess they usually attack you by exiling your graveyards. You can also play their spells, right? I read that it does not work. You can't pay 0 for rhinos, how Forager and Center can cast the rest and cast down. You can't pay 0, okay. Okay. You may pay X. When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card whose mana value X from a graveyard was 8 paying its mana cost. What's Matt confirmed that you can pay 0 with this card on Twitter. So it works, right? So it's good with Ancestral Vision and all these cards. So what's going to be the best? So for standards, cut down the rest. Is it worth it? You kind of have a 4 mana in these Grixis deck. You don't have a ton. You have Field Red, but it's not always great. It's just good for like, I don't know. Maybe it's a sideboard cards. Profane Tutor. You can cast Rhino from your opponent's graveyard. That's really cool. You can also cast Living End from your opponent's graveyard and kind of reset things. Okay, clearly it's like potential in standards. What about modern? Halo Forager. I mean, in Pioneer too, sure. Halo Forager. What about modern? How does you just like play 4 in every deck? Is just what's the best home for Forager right now? Can see being played in Rhinos, yeah. Play 4 in every deck. No, that's not what I mean. Is there already a blue-black mid-range deck in Modern? Probably Living In. Pitches to Grief and Force of Negation on top of recasting Living In. And recasting Living In is what? Only against discard mostly. It's good against discard spells, which is a big deal, I guess. Oh no, because they're not going to discard your Living End. Doesn't make a ton of sense in Living In, actually, right? I mean, you can play your open spells. Fairies, Mail, a Super Walk. Is it worse playing Rhinos as Arcane Proxy doesn't see playing Rhinos? That card's like just strictly better now. It's like a better body, easier to cast. Well, I guess Black Mana is not necessarily easier, but it also casts your open spells. If you play this in blue-black control, I mean, I'd probably just is there a blue-black mid-range deck in Modern right now? I guess there's a 5-color decks. There's Omnath, 5-color Omnath. It doesn't have flash, but unless you're carrying suspend card. No, you can cast your opponent's card, Serral. You can cast their Rhino. You can cast their Living End to counteract their Living End. Does the Fairy passive stop it? It does, right? Because it's a trigger. It's not until end of turn. So I think it stops it. Yeah. The fairy stops everything ever. Yeah. I think I'll just play a couple of Halo Forager to flashback the rest cut down and sometimes invoke. Yeah, I mean, you can't play too many because it's not a very good turn free play. Or you could just go nuts after sideboard doing slow matchups. Then Denic stops it. That's a good point. If it's fun, it doesn't work with the fairy. Dredge your graveyard, reanimate this, cast Living End. Not sure how you do that. And he's probably going to get his best in blue-black. Blue-black control finally playable. For snap for Halo Forager. I don't want to be beat down to use the body, I guess. Dice to Ren and 6 ping, which is annoying. Any good modern cards? Maybe the White Invasion, maybe the Convoke Knight Errant in something like Hammer Time or Devoted Druid or something was, you know, a lot of cheap creatures or cards like Ballista, Hangerback Walker. Why did Sunfall make it to Sunfall got lost? Is there a reason why I put Sunfall for modern? Maybe the new Defender, 1-mana Defender for Arcades deck. Maybe the Moloch against anything that's blue-black. Maybe Jeru and Hazoret to cheat Emrakul or Atraxa in play. No, it's Sunfall, Sunfall got lost. Alright, let's move on. Hidetsugi and Kairi, my favorite card. Finally, blue-black has a chance. Honestly, that's a lot of card advantage. Forager plus Hidetsugu. 5/4 flying for 5. Legendary creature, ogre, demon, dragon, flying. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, and when it enters the battlefield, you brainstorm. When it dies, you exile the top card of your library. Target opponent loses life equals to its mana value. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. So the dream is to put back a 6 mana, whatever, I don't know. The card that copies, counters, draws, triggers, or what else can you... What are the other 6? Yeah, put back an Invoke Despair, put back... I mean, anything, honestly. 4-headed Sugu and Kairi was 4 copies of Explosive Singularity. Ten mana. There's an additional cost to cast this spell. You may tap any numbers of untapped creature you control. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature tapped this way. So it kills people? Which set's that card from? Neon Dynasty? Is that standard or not? Probably not. Sack Hidetsugu to the land and win. Which land? Still standard legal? Wow. I mean, sounds kind of decent. You have Fable to get rid of it too. Can you cast it too? Is it that hard to cast? You may tap any numbers of untapped creature you control. This spell costs 1 less you catch for each tap. I mean, the games go long sometimes. You get to 7-8 mana with Legends sometimes, or any deck. Grixis. I just think that card's really good. It's just a ton of value. It's kind of what blue-black needs in a format like Pioneer to fight off Rakdos. Like these kind of cards, Halo Forge or Hidetsugu. Yeah, I agree, Jacob. You just don't play Invoke Despair anymore. I mean, you don't even need that, right? You just play 4 Go for the Food and you kill it in your upkeep. You just kill your own Hitotsugi in your upkeep. You don't have to play that stupid land, I don't think so. I think it's going to be good in Standard, good in Pioneer, and then Modern. Modern, who knows? You can Legend Rule the Hitotsugu is another copy. So you just play it. You don't put back thingy on top. You play a second one. So you just put it back second from the top if you have another one. They're decent. I don't think you need a sack outlet. You're just going to be playing Go for the Throat in your deck. It's good in the Clone deck. Clone Sword. Yeah, I don't know. Stack ETB and Death Triggers. Okay, so you can put it on top, and if they don't kill it, you play a second one and win the game. I mean, that honestly sounds really, really good. I don't care to have a 10-mana card in my deck if it's gonna be. I don't know. All right, we move on. Does anyone have anything to add specifically? Any sick combos? Besides, it's probably a very good card. Breach of Multiverse, the 7-mana one. You'll stand in Pioneer. Well, there's the one we just talked about that's in Standard. Croxa plus Altar. No, I don't think we got to Croxa at all yet, so no. Inga and Asika. 4-mana, 4/4. Creatures you can roll have visions. Add some mana, blah blah blah. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if you're more mana from creatures was spent to cast it, draw a card. Alright, I mean, that card just seems bad. See every other card that dies to Go for the Throat. Invasion of Alara, 5 mana gold. When it enters a battlefield, exile all cards from the top of your library until you exile 2 non-land cards with mana value 4 or less. So it's kind of like a Bring to Light. You may cast one of those 2 cards without paying its mana cost. Put one of them into your hand. You may cast one of those 2 cards without paying its mana cost. Put one of them into your hand. Then put the other cards exiled this way. So it's a Bring to Light, but random. Like card advantage, kind of. It's Cascade, yeah, okay. My bad. So it's a Cascade spell. Where you get to pick from 2 and you get a... So how does that compare to Invoke Despair? You pay 5 mana for it. You draw a card. You draw a spell. That costs 4 or less. And then you get to cast a card that costs 4 or less. And it could be like a 1-drop and a 2-drop, and then that card's just awful. So that part seems pretty bad. And it has 7 defense, which is obviously a lot. Turns into a sorcery. Old Colorless, target player draws 2 cards. You may put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield. Create a token that's a copy of a permanent you control. This for each 3+1. Destroy target. I mean, I don't think that card's playable, right? You find it was a Traxa. You attack it was a Traxa. Yeah, you're usually losing games where you get to hit was a Traxa. It's known standard pattern of losing a game after resolving a Traxa and attacking with it and dealing damage with it. You see it in Pioneer 5-color value soups, Omnath, Karuga, Fire Zero. Yeah, but you can just hit 1 and 2 mana cards. And then you're screwed. Oh, that card seems bad. Changed my mind. Alright, that card's someone, I think Jacob was some people were talking about. Invasion of Amonkhet. Blue-black 1. When it enters the battlefield, each player mills 3 cards, and each one discards a card, and you draw a card. So it enables the rogue stuff and other stuff in your own deck. So it's Brain Bite. No, Brain Bite you got to choose. Open them. So that effect is a little underwhelming, but why not? And then 4 defense. It's a 4/4, but a copy of another creature for 4. Turns on into the story and whatnot. Okay, I've got in the art, is it? Makes sense, I guess. If you copy Shield Red, you can pay 4. Shield Red's ability repeatedly eating them. Turns on drawn into lock, mills your Traxa. Blinks was Yorion, does it all. I don't know. Seems all underwhelming to me. It's fine, I guess. I don't know. It becomes a 4. You may have, yeah. Oh, any creature card in a graveyard. Maybe I should read the cards. Okay. I need to get to enter the battlefield trigger. Oh, that's not that list. Where's your list? 4 invasions, 4 mastermind, 4 spell dancer, 2 shield red. Les sièges. Tu joues cette partie, tu fais l'effet. Ton adversaire il protège le siège et après tu dois l'attaquer comme tu attaquerais un planeswalker. Et si tu arrives à lui faire 4 dommages, parce qu'elle a 4 celle-là, tu joues l'autre côté, quoi. Tu joues la deuxième face. All right. Would you play that card in Grixis Atraxa, for instance? Enables Corpse Appraiser a bit, doesn't impact the board, you just kind of get ran over, and then you have to deal 4 damage to it. I mean, you could play Bolt, maybe? You could play... No, this Bolt doesn't target Siege, right? Somehow, battles. Is there a good 4-mana burn spell? There's the black one, I guess. The black and 2 remove counters, draw cards. You need to have 2 mana evasive creature for it to. Yeah, but it'd be nice if you also had like some burn spell. Stoke the Flames. Double reds. I mean, the mana base can take it. There's all the dual lands and the tri lands. So maybe play Grixis with Stoke the Flames, some cheap creatures, deck cards, Atraxa. It's a little underwhelming if you don't have Atraxa in your yard when it flips. You do all that work. And I guess getting a 4/4 Corpse Appraiser is nice. Yeah, the red burn spell, 3 mana burn spell. Is that card going to be good enough for any other formats? Does it get better, maybe? Does it get better in other formats? somehow. Ledger Shredder. Glissa. Sure, why not? I mean, I think it's interesting. Kind of hard to judge. I mean, you're playing a grindy deck. It does add up. It is a 2-for-1. Not. It's a pretty shitty 2-for-1, but it's still a 2-for-1, and potentially just wins you the game. Could just be really good. Desperate Doom Foretold and Pioneer. Can mill their tracks, so yeah. Alright, 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and loses 1 life. So it's like a better Trial of Ambition. Right? But it's not an enchantment. And mostly Trial is split into Incarnation decks. And defense 4, 2/1 menace. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on it if a permanent was put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn. So like a fetch land. His goal looks like a cold face. Yeah, I'll pass. Has anyone won that card, like, would Grixis ever won that card? Edict. I mean, Edict is decent against Rafine. 2 mana killer Rafine, it's not too bad. Just chills there. Yeah, I mean, that card's just mediocre, right? Unless you're desperate for something to blink. Invasion of Argamon. When an Invasion of Argamon enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Then you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Then the new Ren 6. The new 2-drop for creativity. Creature. Is that it, Adam? The final piece of the puzzle? Lets you discard Archon. Gives you a treasure. Nah. What does the free for do? When True Gut Cliff Charger enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, search away for a land or battle card, reveal it. Bitter Reunion's just better. Yeah. What about in standard? For some reason. Could be a good 2-drop in like Storm the Festival deck. You loot a bit. How do you ever flip it? 5. It curves into the black card that removes 5 counters. Turn 2 that, loot, get a treasure, turn 3, get rid of it. You get that free 4. You discard a card. It's a lot of work for not that great of a result. You're not really like doing anything crazy. Is it good enough for a Yorion deck? And a Fires deck? Fixes your mana a tiny bit. Is that card ever better than Bitter Reunion in a Fires Yorion deck? Probably not. It is kind of card disadvantage in some ways. Visions of Kaladesh. So you get a Thopter for 2 mana, a little underwhelming. And if you flip it, you get an X4 flying, or numbers of artifact you control, or it's a vehicle, crew 1. Card seems bad, right? Any of the uncommon ones good? Doesn't look like any of the uncommon ones are any good. That one's kind of okay. Black and it's like Rite of Oblivion, kind of. Is it exactly Rite of Is it exactly Rite of Oblivion? Or is Rite of Oblivion you sack a permanent and you kill a permanent? It's like a worse Rite of Oblivion, right? It's non-land. I mean, to Rite of Oblivion you can blink, I guess. And it does exile, which is nice. But you play it on turn 2, it does nothing. With the Teferi one. Invasion of New Phyrexia. When Invasion of New Phyrexia enters the battlefield, create X2 white and blue knight creature tokens with vigilance. And then 6 flips into Teferi Planeswalker, +1 draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. -2 you get an emblem whose nice you control, get +1/+2 and have ward 1. -3 tap X creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent and opening controls. So it removes permanents. 3 mana, get a 2/2. I guess you can play it for a 2 and get nothing. 2 mana, 2/2, 4 mana, 2/2/2, 6 mana, free. Seems bad. This plus Rite of Harmony. When is the next Eldraine set that probably has knights? Alright, that card seems bad. I don't really want to hit a land or double face card, but it's not the end of the world. It's like a really bad omen of the sea. Five mana zombify. I have Cruelty of Gix. Cruelty of Gix at home. This is good, the white-black one. I mean, isn't Cruelty of Gix infinitely better? Don't see the point in battles? Well, it's usually worth it to trade, you know, between 3 and 5 damage for a permanent. Most of the time. You know, so maybe we're just way underrating all the like mediocre battles. They understood. Yeah, I mean it's the first time, so they were probably a little careful. Okay, Joyful Stormclaw doesn't seem very good. Oh, Kogla and Yidaro. That card is busted, right? 7 mana for 6. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. It gains trample and haste, or it fights target creature you don't control. And for 4 mana, you can discard it, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment, shuffle it, and draw cards. That card seems really good. Maybe not busted, yeah. I don't know if it's flexible, strong. Red green is probably not the best in standard right now, but for goal it's pretty good. Look at that this card in French. Grand singe et dinosaure et tortue terrestre. C'est pour ça que c'est drôle. It says legendary creature, big monkey and dinosaur and terrestrial turtle for some reason. Ape is a big monkey. And to be fair, that's why we say in French, we do say grand singe when we're talking about like evolution and stuff and whatnot, but I think only costs 2 minutes, cycle with Zirda. Um, who would play that card right now? Would Domain be happy to play that cards? Who's casting red and green spells, double green, double red spells in standards? Why did we get excited about that card was fat on the podcast? There was not a ton of stuff like that was spoiled. Not sure. I like the flexibility. Maybe it replaces Unleash the Inferno, which can sometimes be clunky. All this is a little clunky too. Straight red green creativity and pioneer, so you get dwarven mine. Wait, what? Where did that come from? Smallest. All right, I'll put Kogla and Yidaro for standard, I guess. Dwarven mine not playable without fetches. People were doing it in Explorer. I want to say Missman played that in the qualifier. He was playing Dwarven Mine. I could be wrong. All right, Kroxa is Altar of Dementia. Kroxa and Knoros, 6/6 for 6, Mardu, Vicious Menace lifelink. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature from a graveyard to the battlefield. So what's the combo with Altar of Dementia? Oh, Altar of Phyrexia. No, Dementia. So in the edit. Ah, you exile itself and bring it back into play? So it's like self-mailed. And then for the last one, you just bring back Oracle. How do you put it into play in the first place? Goro's Vengeance, I guess. It reanimates itself with an extra card in graveyard each time. Yeah. So what would you play? Just all the reanimate spells. Goro's Vengeance, Altar. Probably Fable, Bitter Reunion. You can play a Reanimator deck, I guess. This is another card for the Breach of Multiverse deck I've been chirping about. Mail 10, get something from them, get Crux. So, yeah. How do you beat Graveyard? Is your plan B good enough to beat Graveyard Hate? Because you're super Graveyard focused. Like, Graveyard Hate just super owns you. But I guess Breach of Multiverse gets around 7 mana spell. And play Fable. Leyline of Sanctity. You know. Gonna play Creativity. You just get lucky. Creativity for 2. Get Altar and Crocsine into play. Kill them. Seems like it's probably going to be a much worse version than anything that already exists now. All right, I'm not sold on Crocs though. Seems a little too awkward. Omnath Locus Evolve. 5 mana. So Omnath mana plus a black or 2 life. If you would lose unspent mana, the mana becomes black instead. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more color mana symbol in its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana and put it into your hand. If you don't, just reveal it and put it in your hand. So basically, the reason why that card's not great is because it only starts triggering on your next turn. Because I misread it at first, and I think a bunch of people misread it and said the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, meaning you cast it, that has already. So you have to wait a full turn to start getting value. So it's just another card that sucks against removal. I don't know. I mean, if you do get to untap with it, it's obviously obscene. Super Rocks like, why? Quintorius, Lore Master. 5 mana, free 5 vigilance at the end of your end step, exile target non-creature, non-land card from your graveyard. So like an instant or a sorcery? Create a free 2. At the end of your end step, exile target non-creature, non-land card from your graveyard. So it comes into play. You don't kill it right away. You get a free 2 most of the time. Free tap, sack a spirit. Choose target. Oh my god. Super walk, I think you're right. I literally got like tired in mid card. I don't want to read. I'm done. Can we move on to the next card? All right, tap 3, sacrifice a spirit, choose target card, exile with Quintorius. You may cast that card this turn without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, put it on the bottom of its owner's. I mean, I feel bad. Whoever I was making fun of earlier for saying that you have to remember stuff, and I made fun of them. I said you can just read the cards. You don't have to remember anything. I apologize. You're right. Alright, so what does it do? Sacrifice the spirits, which you get from exiling stuff. Choose target card exile with Quintorius. It's one of so let's say you exile a lightning bolt, you get a free two, you tap, sack the spirit, you choose that lightning bolt that you exiled with Quintorius. You may cast this card this turn without paying its mana cost if that spell would be put into a graveyard. So you want to discard like an ultimatum, something really expensive, and then untap and you win the game, kind of. I don't know. Bizarre, mais fort le Naf. Ouais, s'il crève pas le tour où tu le joues, ouais, mais il va crever quasiment tout le temps, mais ouais. Just recasting Showdown. Showdown of the Scald.
It's okay, Gab, I can read it for you. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes black instead. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at Bench.
Thanks, Lena. For the 100 bits. Yeah, you can cast instant sorcery planes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like at least you get a free two right away a lot of the time. I don't know. Rankle and Torbrand. 5 mana, free for flying first strike haste. When it deals combat to a player or battle, choose any number. Each player creates a treasure token. Each player sacrifices a creature. If sorcerer deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals. Oh, because it has first strike. If a source would deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals damage. So it pumps your other creatures. That's kind of cool. It's pretty good with Torbrand. If you play Torbrand into Rankle and Torbrand, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, because it has first strike. So if you're attacking with other creatures that don't have first strike, the third ability. Too bad it doesn't have double strike. I don't know, that card seems a little clunky, a little expensive to be good. Sculpted Perfection. Incubate 2, Phyrexian. So that's the Crusade, like white black's the main incubate color. 4 mana. Your other creatures. I mean, I'm assuming all the. I think every creature in this set kind of is. No. That's in the last set. But all the good ones are Phyrexians, right? Or all the ones. All the incubate cards are Phyrexians, I'm assuming. Phyrexian Cat Cleric, Phyrexian Knight. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it kind of adds up. The cards are like decently sculpted. What's it called? Sculpted perfection. So far we have like 5 good cards, or did we miss 1 or 2? Stormclaw Rager, 2/2 for free, sack another creature artifact, put a counter, and draw a card. Huh. 3 mana, 2/2 Ogre Warrior, 1 sack another creature or artifact, so like even a treasure or food token. Put a +1/+1 counter on Stormclaw Rager and draw a card activate only as sorcery. So it's a bit like, I mean, in some ways it's a bit like Corvold? It's cheaper. So you played on 5 mana. You draw multiple cards a turn, potentially. And you can play it on turn 3, turn 2. Play the turn after you play Fable. Is it like Mayhem Devil, but not, just a casting card, just another good card for the SAG decks? Is that card just good enough? Yeah, sorcery speed's never great, but Nice mana sink. Wars in Squirrel. Isn't Squirrel modern only? This can be played in Pioneer, maybe even Standard. You got Village Ride. You got Incubates. Maybe like Mardu. Mardu was you only played a really good incubation card, like the 1/2 maybe. Juju Beans Red Black deck. There's the blood tokens from Harvester you can sack. You can sack Transmigrant. You can sack the research desk. I mean, it could be fine. Really struggling here. Stormclaw Rager and Experimental Synthesizer go off. You can sack the red artifact, yeah. It has potential, but is it exponential? What's it called? Stormclaw Rager? Oh, that's modern? Probably not good enough for modern. There's that black artifact that needs 4 stack of artifacts or creatures and reanimates a creature. I've been brewing with that in standard and deck. Needed sack outlet pretty bad. This one seems quite decent. Oh, the VAT? That card is most likely a trap, but maybe. Thalion, the Gitrog Mancer. 4 mana, 4/4. Abzan. First strike, Death Touch. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponent controls enters a battlefield tapped. Whenever Thalion, the Gitrog Mancer attacks, sacrifice a creature or land and draw a card. Too bad it doesn't have the, like, Other Thalia ability. They pay 1 more for their spells, or people pay. Is that card any good? I mean, it's just another card that dies, right? Without really giving you value except letting you play an extra land. And it's not even that amazing if you untap with it. It's like, fine. It's not like game winning. Thalia, Gitrog Monster, and Zimone Dina, I think, is a good core. Yeah, I mean, if you love getting owned by Go for the Throat, I agree. Yargle and Miltani. I love the flavor text, obviously. I've heard much about you from my daughter, Multani Rambled. There was a time when I'd balk at your 8 Phantom, but she has shown me the merit in Urborg's strange ways. Gnishag Caprivit, replied Viargal. Did I say it right? 18-6, so someone was pointing out that 6 mana. If you play that and then you play where is it? Vidal Trail Seeker, back up 2. You put 2 counters on it and you sack it, and it's 20 damage. You're welcome. Thalia and Gitrog in the 4-color Slogurk Legends. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's you probably play one of if you're playing Legends of these colors. It combos a bit with Slogurk. Okay, Zimona and Dina. 3/4 for 3 mana. Salta, Human Dryad. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Tap, sack another creature. Draw a card. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Control 8 or more lands. Repeat this process once. So you play it. It dies to go for the throat. You move on with your life. Okay, you play it. Let's say you untap. You draw for the turn. You sack your cheapest creature. You draw for the turn. You drain them for 2. You put an extra land. You put Gitrog. You put Body into play. You play an extra land. You ramp. I mean, I don't see the point of that card. It seems like it's just you're just spinning your wheels, right? Does it do anything? Am I missing something? Feels like it's like Turbo Dirtling. You drain for 2. Woo! Commander plan bench. I mean, she does not die to cut down or braid. I don't know. I don't see that card being. I mean, sure, put 1 in your legend deck. It's fine if you can cast it. Gotta say, Go for the Throat is definitely the most important card in this entire set review. I don't know, maybe it's gonna be the exile removal because of like Hidetsugu and whatnot. Yeah, obviously it's better with tokens, but yeah, I mean it's fine with tokens. But then if they kill it, you're left with your useless tokens that are probably not amounting to much. With Colony Garden, maybe the value. Alright, let's move on. Zurgo plus a Jutai. 4/4 Flying Haste for 5 mana, Jeskai colors, Flying Haste. Zurgo and a Jutai has hexproof as long as it enters the battlefield this turn. So you play it, they can't kill it. Whenever 1 or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand, rest on the bottom. You may return 1 of those. Wait, what? And the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. You may return 1 of those dragons to its owner's hand. Oh, 1 of the dragons that dealt combat damage. So it can dodge a sweeper potentially. That's kind of cool. Oh, Zurgo part, right? So you play it, it has Flying Haste, they can't kill it. And if you're worried about spot removal or sweepers, you just bounce it and you do that every turn. And you get cards. Or you can just leave it into play. I mean, it's a good card, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Hexproof Dash. Does anything get it in standard right now? There's Edict, Shieldred's Edict. Censor it. Have you tried just countering it? Maybe against non-blue control decks. Yeah. I mean, seems kind of. Is it better than just playing an AO or a Hidetsugu? Or, I mean, it's not the exact same colors, but. You can draw 2 cards if you hit a battle and a player. Whenever 1 or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle. It's not all one effect. You get both triggers if you do player and battle, and you have 2 dragons in play. Yeah, I mean, I could see single-handedly losing to that card in many spots. Be like, okay, I only lose to Zurgo and Ojutai, and they just. And you do accumulate cards. It passes the go for the throw tests. Let's put it that way. It's like these charts, you know. Does it do anything against Go for the Throat? No, it's bad. Yes. Maybe it's good. Mono white, I mean, mono white can just rate. I mean, Ojutai, right? You can just play a blocker. I mean, AO, you can just play, you can just block it or race it. All right, fly, flywheel racer. 3/2 vigilance for 2, add 1 and activate only is a creature. Oh, you have to crew it to pay. Okay. Hello Hopper, 3 mana, free to convoke. Ooh. Kite Sail, Effects and Archivist. Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree. I think that card's super slow, right? 3 mana, a legendary artifact, 2, target open mills 3 cards, put a land card from their graveyard on the battlefield tab under your control against weird cards. And you're really slow ramp card advantage. It does ramp, it's not just card advantage. Ten mana sack, search your library for any numbers of Forager cards put in the It is a win condition. Millstone. New Age Millstone. That's the 1/1/2. The 1/1 that makes mana for abilities. Or the 5 mana artifact that gives you 2 mana for abilities. This is my kind of card, yeah. They don't make them very well anymore.
Funky says, what's Nassif's win condition? You, my friend, must not know Yellowhat very well.
Wish it was Karn Cracket.
This is not a guy who brings win conditions.
Does anyone think that card's good enough? You have to take turn 3 off, does nothing, untap. I mean, it takes over, it ramps you really fast. Like 2 mana is not a huge investment. And it basically pays for itself after 2 activations. Because it ramps you twice and then it's a free roll for the rest of the game. See it as a sideboard option for a control deck? I don't know. I feel like if the rest of your deck's really cheap, I mean, it's got to be much worse than Bangbuster, right? You can play a Planeswalker instead. One of this, one of the Celestis. Oh, it is legendary, yeah. Yeah, I could see playing the first. I mean, I'll definitely be trying it. I can guarantee there's going to be one Realm Breaker in the first control deck I play. Oof. Reprint Skittering Surveyor. The blue-black sword. Too bad it should have protection from Abrade. The creature gets protection from blue and black, and the sword has protection from red. Always looking out for uses of Power Stone. Big skits. Oh. Whenever a creature deals common damage to a player, surveil 2. Then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Is that card any good? It does protect your creature from Go for the Throat, true. Hey, what's Alex? Thanks for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Your rating just as we got finished was our set review. Is that it? Is that the whole set? How long did it take? 5 hours? Not bad. But you're right on time for the recap, I guess. Perfect timing.